You're smiling. It's a wonderful Monday in New York City, the week of the Super Bowl. The Kansas City Chiefs against the San Francisco 49ers. And we'll obviously get into it as the week rolls on. I am very excited. The preeminent Knick fan, and to me, the voice of Knick fans, with his wonderful YouTube channel of Knick Fan TV. CP, the franchise, is going to hang out with us today, coming up at 4. Talk some basketball with him. Tiki, I missed you, but I'm concerned for you. You know how there's a buzz about the Super Bowl, and there's a buzz about the offseason, and there's a buzz about new coaches and what's going to happen during the offseason?
Of course.
There is a buzz that's been emanating, and it came out of the Senior Bowl. And I admit, it's just a buzz. But we need to react to this, because I'm curious if you're on my side here, concerned the way I'm concerned. And that buzz that came out of the Senior Bowl, according to a wonderful reporter named Matt Miller, who covers the draft incredibly well, is that agents around the league believe that your football team, the New York Football Giants, are not, I repeat, not going to use a premium draft pick on a quarterback. That they're actually going to go with route number one in this offseason, which is let's just sign a veteran to compete with Daniel Jones. That is a really, really, really big mistake.
Great decision.
Are you serious?
Great decision. Look, the New York Giants are sitting at number 6 in this year's draft, and there is a lot of talent that's available. Both wide receivers are not going to take a wide receiver there. Offensive linemen, they could take an offensive lineman there. There's a tight end that's available there. Or they can move out of that pick and go down for anyone that wants some of those top-end players, because the New York Giants, and we've said this many times, have so many holes. There are 32 free agents, and a lot of them are not going to re-sign. And so to build a team that is viable, that is better than the one that was on the field last year, you unfortunately, I'm not saying it's great, but I think it's the right thing to do. You can't waste a premium pick on a quarterback this season, especially with Daniel Jones on this roster. Now, it forces you to go look at the free agent market and who's available. Now, there's a couple of really good names. One, Kirk Cousins. But I don't think you're going to sign Kirk Cousins, because I think Kirk Cousins is more reliable, and even I don't know if he's going to be healthier off an Achilles, but he's been better.
He's not competing with Daniel Jones.
Right.
He's replacing Daniel Jones.
Right. He would be replacing Daniel Jones. You're not signing Kirk Cousins unless you are replacing Daniel Jones. The same thing, in theory, would apply to Russell Wilson. He'd have to trade for, but I'm sure you could, or maybe not, because they might release him at some point in Denver. But if you signed Russell Wilson, you would be effectively replacing Daniel Jones. Now, there are a couple of guys, really only a couple, that I really like here. One is Jacoby Brissett, who, and again, I'm not talking about him to be your starting quarterback. I'm talking about a quality backup who, if Daniel Jones is not ready, can play for a couple of games. And the other one, and I only say this because I called him twice this year, is Gardner Minshew from the Indianapolis Colts. Now, here's the thing. Neither one of those guys elicit excitement. Like, oh, my God, yes, that's our answer. We found our answer. I still think that the Giants are in a position where Daniel Jones has to be their answer. So what we're talking about is who's behind, who's supporting, who's pushing.
Why does he have to be their answer? Let's start with right there. Why does he have to be the answer?
Because there's too much else wrong with this team.
So because you have so much else wrong with your team, you have to settle on being wrong a quarterback? I don't get that logic.
You have. First of all, I don't think you're wrong with Daniel Jones.
No, you're wrong if he can't stay healthy. He can't stay healthy.
But I can't assume unhealth.
And I can't assume health.
Why?
Because
he tore an ACL. He tore an ACL because he had a neck injury that was undefined as of right now.
Yes.
And again, I don't even know what it was, because they never told us. It wasn't the spinal issue that was from 3 years ago, but it was different, and it felt like it was more muscular or tendinal as opposed to structural. So I have no idea what the neck injury is. The more concerning thing from Daniel Jones is he's coming off an ACL injury, and he's an athletic quarterback, meaning he can run and be viable with his legs. But to me, the Giants can't just go draft a quarterback, because there's so many holes, so many other places. And if they do that, then you're basically starting over. You're basically saying, all right, whoever the coach is going to be, let's assume it's Dave's for the next 2 or 3 years. You're starting everything over. All of this culture that you had, all of this, goodwill that you built by winning 10 games, including one in the playoffs against the Minnesota Vikings, all of that is out the door. Don't sign Saquon, revamp everything. Let's reset in the middle of your contract.
Well,
that's what it would be. And that's rarely successful.
So they just
don't get the time anymore.
This upcoming year is 2024. Year after that is 2025. Year after that is 2026. I want to get my years straight. Is Daniel Jones a starting quarterback of this team in 2025 or 2026? Is he? Is he?
I'll tell you after 2024.
No. That answers the question, though. The fact that you hesitated and the fact that you said, I'll tell you later, proves I'm right. But it proves that you can't put a Band-Aid on
But hold on. It doesn't matter if you're right. What matters is that the Giants have so many holes to fill, you can't just go grab a quarterback. Because what's going to happen is that Daniel Jones is not going to get healthy. This young player is going to be forced to play right away, and he's going to get ruined. And then all of a sudden, you're stuck with the perceptual ruining of a quarterback. We've seen this time and time. Because it happens time and time and time. Who are you getting? You're not getting the number one pick. You're not getting Caleb Williams.
Right.
You're not getting Drake May. Maybe you get Jaden Daniels, but his team sucked at LSU. So, yeah, because he won the Heisman and he's a super athlete, I want him right away to come play in New York. I don't buy that.
Yeah, but you're doing the same thing you did. I know this is an argument for a different day, and it's really for the argument of the day Saquon Barkley leaves this franchise. The decision to draft Saquon Barkley is one of the dumbest decisions the franchise has ever made. Okay? It is.
Yeah,
now,
but
I don't want to argue with you about that today because I think it's another day.
Contextualization makes it right at the time.
No, it makes it wrong at the time. And it's wrong because of exactly what you're saying now. When you're picking that high sometimes,
okay, but you
need a quarterback, stop kicking the can down the road. That's what you're suggesting.
I'm not saying go draft a running back. I'm not saying go draft a safety.
You're saying don't draft a quarterback, sign Gardner Minshew. That's what you're saying.
Yeah.
If that's the case, the Giants are making a huge mistake.
Because I believe in Daniel Jones, just like Kayvon Thibodeau believes in Daniel Jones, just like Saquon Barkley on his latest interview believes in Daniel Jones, just like
Tiki, you don't believe in Daniel Jones. You know why you don't believe in Daniel Jones?
No.
I
believe in Daniel Jones. Do I trust he's going to be healthy? That's a different question.
It's in the same ballpark of questions.
Okay, great.
If I ask you, and I did, do you think he's the quarterback next year or the year after? If you would have just said, you know what, Evan? Yes. I would have said you're crazy, but I would have said, okay, you believe in Daniel Jones. The fact that you can't answer the question and you're not sure is proof that he's been in the league for half a decade.
But also,
you can't answer the question.
I've been in and around the NFL for so long. I mean, more than half of my adult life. And I know that you know what happens. And so for me to sit back and predict that something's going to happen, I'd be stupid to do that. I will never do that because I know that it can change. I know that guys come out of nowhere. I know that Mr. Irrelevant can be in the Super Bowl at 24 and a half years old, right? So anything can happen. So I can't predict what Daniel Jones is going to be in 2026, but I can tell you in 2024, he better be the Daniel Jones that they paid for. Otherwise, this team is in a world of trouble.
But you just hit on it, and this is the problem. Because they made a decision last year to re-sign Daniel Jones, which I raised my hand on, I support, I understood, I get it. I'm not Monday morning quarterbacking this. They signed him to what was not a crazy contract. We've talked about it.
13th among starting quarterbacks in the NFL.
And an ability to get out of it at the end of this season.
2 seasons.
A smart contract. But I have this feeling that you and the Giants are leading to your decision based on the fact you can't get out of it now. Based on the fact that you know Daniel has to be on this team. You're not trading him. There's no market for him. You're not cutting him. You're not going to take that kind of cap hit. So he's on the team. So you're forcing yourself for another year to say, screw it. I'm not going to try to find my answer at quarterback. I'll worry about that next year. You're going to sign a veteran to compete with him, and that's the plan moving forward?
No. I'm not signing a veteran to compete with Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones is my starting quarterback.
It's even worse. You're signing a veteran just to back him up.
Yes. I'm signing a veteran to be in the spot if he's unhealthy or if he's not available. And Jacoby Brissett and Gardner Minshew have done that well over the last couple of years. I mean, they almost made the postseason. The Indianapolis. No, did they make the postseason? No, they didn't. No. They almost made the postseason.
They should have.
Got close. They choked it. They choked it at the end. You're right. They almost made the postseason, and they had some serious issues with that team. Gardner's a good player, and he's chill, and he's calm, and he's not going to go grab the spotlight because he's in New York. He's just a backup, and he gets it. Jacoby Brissett might be the best backup quarterback in the National Football League. And so if I'm the Giants, One of those guys is who I want because Daniel Jones is my starting quarterback. And if he's not, we got much bigger problems to worry about.
I think I'm going to throw up. I'm going to completely throw up. Well, Tiki, you know I like Daniel Jones a lot. But I got to side with Evan when you go, how can I assume he's not going to be healthy? Because his entire career here has shown that he cannot stay healthy outside of the one great year that he had in 2022. And if that's the case, what the Giants can't have happen is they can't sign a veteran and then let prohibit them if the draft falls where they want either.
Right.
That's the other part of this.
Right.
So be careful how much money you spend on a veteran. Don't turn around if Jaden Daniels falls or Drake May falls to 6 and then go, I got to pass on this guy because I signed Jacoby Brissett. That also can't happen.
Yeah, but I think the free agency is going to be interesting this year, the timing of it relative to the draft, because it usually happens before. At least these deals happen before, especially with quarterbacks. But there's a lot of teams that have quarterback needs. So I wonder if teams are going to wait to sign these guys.
Well, you also have a lot of teams that realize I need 2 quarterbacks. I can't rely on one guy to stay healthy as I raise my hand being a fan of one of those teams that's going to realize the importance of a backup. But Shane,
how can you? How
can I what?
This is why I'm saying it's going to be dicey this year.
Go ahead.
Because how can you sign your backup when you don't know who your starter is? That's hard.
Well, the problem with the Giants is you already know deep down that in a year from now or 2 years from now, you're moving on from Daniel Jones. You know that. You're not admitting it, and I don't know if it's a loyalty. I don't know if it's the fact that you said a year ago he's better than Dak Prescott 9 out of 10 times. I don't know.
It's not even better. It's just you would choose him over Dak Prescott.
I don't know what your motivation is, and I'm not one to kind of tell you what your motivation is because you have your reasons. But I think you're fogging right now. Fogging.
What is fogging?
It's a term I created.
Okay.
It's when you're stuck in this fog and you can't see through it sometimes. I have that issue all the time, by the way. So I don't want to act as if I'm saying you have it and I never do. I have it a lot. But you're in this fog where you don't realize you got to find his replacement. Jacoby Brissett is not his replacement. Gardner Minshew, who I happen to like, is not his replacement.
Why? He's 26 years old. He'll be
Because
27 next year.
Stay healthy.
I understand what you're saying, but he's not old. He's not washed up. He's not 30 years old.
Say
You're saying, this guy has no chance. We're just he is not with Jameis Winston. Jameis Winston's that perfect guy. Yeah, if Jameis Winston's our starting quarterback, okay, he's had some success in the league. Yeah, but I still got some questions about him. He's 30 years old.
I'm not talking.
You're not inserting Jameis Winston and saying we're going to be fine.
But Joe Shane knew what the questions were with Daniel Jones, and if he didn't, he wouldn't have given him this out after 2 years. And a lot of those questions, by the way, weren't talent-based. It was 2022 was the first time we saw Daniel Jones not get hurt.
Well, hold on. I think Joe Shane's contract that he did with Daniel Jones was necessary in order for them to put a viable team on the field. To me, that's what it came down to.
But to get the out after 2 years?
That's because, you can. If you can, you do it. Daniel Jones, let's be real, got exactly what he deserved.
I agree.
Exactly. Yeah. Did he deserve to be one of the highest paid quarterbacks in the NFL? No. Did he deserve to be disrespected making $22 million a year? No. Did he deserve to be middle of the road if he's great? Yes. That's exactly what he got. And so there's an out because money in the NFL is fungible. First of all, let's stop talking about the money because the money doesn't matter. The contract doesn't matter.
Tiki, I agree with you. Everything you said.
We saw this with your quarterback. We saw this with Aaron Rodgers, who has a $100-something million cap hit that just goes away. Why? Because we both agree that it should go away. Money is fungible in the NFL, so stop talking about his contract.
No.
I do not want to see that anywhere in this conversation.
I'm bringing up the contract
that's not what it's about.
To you for one reason, and it's very, very important. And just say the answer is no, and I won't bring it up again. Is part of the reason why you're bringing in a veteran quarterback for the year instead of drafting his replacement because of the contract, because of the fact that you've committed so much money to him, you don't want him riding the bench the 6th week of the season because you drafted a guy at 6. That's on the table. Well, and if that's the reason, then you're damn right I'm going to bring up the contract. Because if the contract's the reason you're not drafting a young quarterback, then I got to bring it up.
Then you just didn't listen to what I said.
No, I did listen to what you said.
The reason that the Giants are not going to draft a quarterback is because they have so many more needs. They have so many more places where they need to get better. Quarterback is not the top priority.
It is, though. It is when you're building a team and you're uncertain about the future of this one. That's when it is a priority because it's the
how
most.
many quarterbacks do you see get ruined because of exactly what you're saying?
Well, I'm a Jet fan. I've seen it like every 3 years on cycle.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The system is uncertain. The coach's tenure, his lifespan as the head coach is uncertain. The offensive line is uncertain. Hell, we don't even have a freaking defensive coordinator. We can't find one. We're doing all we can to hold on to Kafka instead of letting him go out to Seattle, who really wanted him. I mean, they hired him they were going to hire him as a head coach. Of course, they want to take him to Seahawks.
Are you saying the Giants' rebuild is in such the early stages? They're not ready in their rebuild to draft a quarterback because they're so bad? Is that essentially what you're saying?
Yeah, basically.
I don't think Joe Shane and Brian Dable are going to be here to draft one if they keep passing on it. The last thing they could do, about how many regimes do we see ruin tying yourself to the wrong quarterback? Which, again, you could argue could happen in the draft.
See, here's the thing. I don't think that Daniel Jones is the wrong quarterback.
Not as a player, but Tiki, you got to be available. He has 2 neck injuries in 3 years. We cannot ignore that.
Yeah, but
we could trot this out and he gets hurt in week 3, then what?
Okay, say you draft a quarterback. Now what? You're going to start this guy without a right tackle?
No, by the way.
Without a solidified offensive line.
But that's the beauty of it.
Without any skill position players other than Jalen Hyatt,
Jordan
Love
and Mahomes this thing, man.
Without a running back. What?
Jordan Love and Mahomes this thing.
With a tight end who's also constantly hurt. Like, what? Think about what I'm saying.
They're not as lost in talent as you're painting it. They have a lot more talent than we're giving them credit. They have other holes.
Where's the elite player?
On offense?
Yes.
I mean, they have maybe the best left tackle in football. That's an elite player.
That's not what I'm talking about. Skill position player. Where's the elite player?
Elite? No,
By
but
the way,
I like the
Saquon's not gonna
direction.
be here.
I like,
right? I think aren't we convinced of that?
I mean, today he acted like he was going to be here, but nonetheless.
But yesterday he didn't.
I've seen the development of Wan'Dale and Hyatt, but why is it that they can only add this? They can only add a quarterback and they can't find these other holes, man. Like, I can't get behind that. And I can't stomach the idea that we're going to sit there and hope that Dable and Shane keep their jobs because they've tethered themselves to an often injured Daniel Jones. It's just idiotic.
I think you kick yourself down the line as a coach and a offensive and a general manager if you wait to take your quarterback. If you take him now, it's a different story. It's because, I mean, yeah, it gives you another 2 years,
right? But
you easily could get fired without any kind of hope of a back end.
Ideally, in a perfect world, yes, the Giants have a lot of holes to fill. And you don't always fill them with first-round picks. In fact, the good GMs fill them out with fourth-round picks, fifth-round picks. Dare I say, undrafted free agents.
But if you're drafting in the top 10, you better draft a perennial Pro Bowler. You better. And if you don't, you see what's happened. But look at the New York Giants.
No, I agree, but here's the caveat to that. If you believe in Brian Dable and you believe this franchise, even with some of the holes they have, they're going to improve from this past year. They're going to be a feisty 8-win team. They're going to continue to grow. Then there's a damn good chance you're not picking 6 again. And if you're not picking 6 again, where and when are you drafting that future quarterback?
Yeah, but
unless you really think Daniel Jones miraculously is going to be healthy all of a sudden.
Also, what if you don't spend the pick on quarterback and you miss it, whatever position you take, which the Giants have done too frequently?
Hold on, Tiki, I think you'll appreciate this. I'm glad that you're on my side, Sean. I'm glad we're on the same side.
It's a good start to the weekend.
But I'm a little confused by you.
Okay.
Because I already thought you had your quarterback.
I think this kid might be the answer.
Remember Tommy DeVito?
What? I think I just heard there, I think this kid might be the answer.
I don't shine shoes anymore.
Now, unfortunately, when you need to go to every pizzeria to sign every ass cheek from here to Patterson, I think that you realize
you know when Tommy
like
DeVito is your guy? When he wins the job in training camp. Like I said 8 weeks ago.
You did say that.
You kept asking me. When he wins the job in training camp, I'll believe in Tommy DeVito. Until then, shut up about Tommy DeVito. This is more about what the Giants need to do going forward to build a viable winner. To get talent, personal. Right? It's not even personal. I like Tommy DeVito. I've never met him, but
on me.
You've annoyed Tiki.
But this team needs so much. There just aren't good enough players in enough places. And so to put it all on the quarterback, we got it, because I know what it would be. We got our quarterback. Let's say they draft Drake May. We got our savior. And then he's barraged with ineptitude and ineffectiveness around him, and he gets beat up and loses confidence. Hell, he gets hurt as a rookie. And now what do? We're stuck because we haven't built from the foundation. Too many teams in the NFL get enamored with building from the head. Right? Let me build the head first. You got to build them legs and build that ass first, man. Right? Don't build the head first. It's core Teams that are sitting where they are now, they built it that way. The Kansas City Chiefs built it that way. Did they have a great quarterback in Alex Smith? No, but he was pretty good enough, right? Won double-digit games for long enough. The culture and the foundation was built, and look where they are. The San Francisco 49ers have been building with defensive linemen and offensive linemen for a decade now. It's all they do. It's like, damn the quarterback. We'll take Jimmy Garoppolo, who stinks, and he can't stay healthy. But guess what? We're going to consistently be in the playoffs, and then we accent it with this found running back and Raheem Mostert, who rushes for 200 and something yards in the NFC Championship game. Foundations win championships or get you in position to do it. It's not by sticking a pretty head that can be the face of my franchise on top of everything and saying, all right, we're good to go now. Look, just look at that dude smile. He looks the part, right? We're going to pay him $50 million in a couple years. Awesome, man. We're ready to go. That's not how it works, man. Build it the right way.
No, I get you. I got Tiki mad at 2:20 on a Monday. I came in a good mood. I'm smiling. I'm happy. I got him all riled up. We'll get your calls next.
Go kiss ass.
We'll get your calls next. The Tiki plan, let's just get a veteran, or the Evan Morash plan. I got to draft my future quarterback. 877-337-6666. But Tiki and I do have a common ground. Very much we have a common ground. You know what that common ground is? We're building with that ass first. That's our common ground. A lot of Knick basketball later on. CP, the franchise, will hang out with us coming up at 4 o'clock. And remember, this Thursday, I'm very excited. Sean Morash beat me in pickleball. I still have my beard. But Thursday at 4 o'clock, he has to make his decision on his big show decision that he has.
And I already know.
And Tiki already knows. I have no idea. He'll unveil it this week, 4 o'clock on Thursday.